What's up, YouTube? Tenchi Arizonia, the angry Dracolope of the Jackalope crew here, and this video is addressing one of Gargoyle Blade's videos titled Love Hate, which I'm actually looking at all the way over there on my computer screen right now. Anyway, as you can see, I have a couple of swords right here. One is one of my katanas, and one is the Hanwei Bastard sword. Now, one of the complaints that Alex over at Gargoyle's Blade had about the Honshu katana was its weight, 3 pounds or 1.3 kilos. That is not overly heavy for a proper functional sword. It's not even overly heavy for a katana. However, I believe the main issue he had due to the weight was the weight distribution. As you can see on the Honshu katana, it has a horrible, chunky, rectangular pommel that shouldn't even be there because katanas do not have pommels. Now, let me get this katana, which is my dragon katana, a Shinogi Zakuri blade. 28.5 inch long blade, 11 inch handle. Overall length is 40 inches. Don't ask me how that works. I don't know where the extra half inch comes from. Maybe it comes from the tsuba and the spaces either side. But the tsuka, the handle, is 11 inches. The weight on this blade, 28.5 inch blade, as I mentioned, with an 11 inch handle. This is a 1.2 kilo blade. So it's a bit under 3 pounds. However, some of Dragon King's katanas are a mere 166 grams lighter than the Honshu katana. And some of Hanwei's offerings, namely the Raptor, are about the same weight. In fact, a couple of Hanwei's Raptor katanas are actually a little bit heavier than 3 pounds. The heaviest I saw, and I did look on several websites this morning, including the Night Shop and Cult of Athena, was 1330 grams. So a little over 1.3 kilos, or a little over 3 pounds. Now, let's move on to this bad boy. This is the Hanwei Bastard Sword. It's the antique finish version, but it is essentially their practical bastard sword. And I'll have to read off the stats for you on this one because I cannot remember them all. What I do remember is the weight. This is a 1.6 kilo sword. And that is within the sweet spot for European swords, specifically hand and a half and two-handed swords, such as this one. Which, Alex, I think we can agree that a katana is a two-handed sword. However, it is significantly lighter than something like this bastard sword. Let me just put this back in its sheath for a moment. Sorry, scabbard. Let me put it back in its scabbard, and I will get my notebook out so I can give you the stats on this blade. And yes, it's my Tim's School of Fish notebook. So, the Hanwei Bastard Sword, that big boy right there. The handle length is 9.05 inches long, which is shorter than a katana's handle. That katana's handle is 11 inches long. I have measured it. The blade length on this bastard sword is 38.1 inches long, so around 10 inches longer than a katana's blade. Oh, and by the way, the Honshu katana's blade is 29 inches long. Regular katana, 28.5 inches. Not a significant blade length difference. The weight, however, is the difference. On that sword, which is considered in the sweet spot for two-handed swords, the Hanwei Bastard Sword, 1.6 kilograms, as I mentioned. Total length is 49 inches. Total length on the katana is 40 inches, so a 9-inch difference. So the length of a katana as opposed to the length of a bastard sword, it is a significant difference. And let me just get these out here. This is going to be a little bit awkward because I'm going to have to put one sword down while I get the other one. And then I'm going to have to put the scabbard down. We can see here, if I go cross guard Tsuba, and I'm probably going to have to do it this way, there is a significant difference. I don't even know if they're completely in frame, but I hope so. You can see there is a significant difference, but these are both comparable blades. They are both intended to be used with two hands. Now, let me just put my katana down for a moment and put the Hanwei bastard sword away. And yes, this is a big sword. I am 5'5" tall. It comes up to about my shoulder. So yes, there is a difference. However, Alex, I think you are actually misrepresenting the case here for the Honshu katana specifically, because it does fall within the acceptable weight ranges of other swords, including other katanas. Like I said, this is 1.2 kilograms. It is a Shinogi Zakuri blade. And this does fall within the normal specs of a katana. 28.5 inch blade, 11 inch handle. So yes, the handle is a little bit shorter on the Honshu katana, and I think the biggest problem on it is not the weight so much, but the weight distribution. Anyway, that's all for today. I'm going to tag Gargoyle's blades in this video. I'm also going to invite him to collaborate on this video. I'm also going to invite Samurai Bird to collaborate. Those two are much more experienced with swords than me. However, the information I pulled up from actual sword retailers, such as the Night Shop and Cult of Athena, and Cat Iberia's own website. Anyway, that's all for now. If you like it, please subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, be good to each other.